It has always been about nation building. Now, let me put my um, let me put my disclosure out there first. This has always been about teaching my guys in Kenya and leaving something for my grandkids. I hope this is a blessing for anyone listening to it. But I think we're coming to a time where information has to be shared. Now, as much as I would love to read the Bible from front to cover in front of you, well, that's not true. I wouldn't love to do that. But I think information is changing as technology changes, information changes. And so I'm going from Genesis all the way back to Revelation, sharing my thoughts. I believe that's what God is telling me to do right now. And I'm hoping that this is a blessing to my brothers in Kenya and my grandkids. It has always been about nation building. And again, remember what I said about nations. Nations are people groups. It has never been an individual thing, like individual wealth. The world today in 2023 is all about chasing personal wealth, personal fame, building yourself up, getting the big house, the car, and whatever, and making sure that you have what you want in life. It was never meant to be that. The time of Adam, or the Adamic, as they say, or could be said, the Adamic era. The original temptation was that of personal gain. Always. Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Always about having more. God blessed Adam, and as a part of that blessing gave him a wife, Ishi, which can also be described as part of the Egyptian godhead. But in giving Adam what he needed, which is a mate, and giving him a role to play, Adam, the atoms that we make up, that make up even our body, make up everything. Make up everything. Still with everything. The quest for more, which moved humanity into this period of sin consciousness. This sin consciousness makes you very introspective, thinking of yourself, and can quickly push you off the goal, which is nation building. Be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply does not mean becoming rich or even wealthy. Be fruitful and multiply, take up dominion in the earth, means you were already rich, you were already wealthy. You had dominion over everything. Until sin consciousness kicks in, and all of a sudden, it's all about you. That's where sin originates. Sin originates in you being more important than nation building. It's the difference between having a motive inward and a motive outward. The motive or your intent is to fulfill the mission of the one whom you are an ambassador of, which is God. It's his mission. You're already rich. You're already wealthy. Nothing to pursue. He gave you dominion. But the pursuit has to be that of understanding of who you are, which is the wisdom of God, who gives you understanding of who you are. And this is going to be a little bit of a rich video, so, catch this. And a great example of the wisdom of God is in the story of Jacob and Esau, when Jacob had favor with wisdom, which is his mother Rebekah, and showed him how to capitalize off of him being the younger, supposed to serve Esau, the older, but from the child's youth, the mother received a word saying that the younger would serve the older. So she raised him to be able to take advantage of what she believed God had shown her. Bear with me. I'm going to get back to nation building. But you have to understand, before you can even understand nation building, motive. Intent. It is never about you. So many people are striving for them to have for themselves, not for the nation. But what Rebekah taught Jacob was how to please his father, taking advantage of the blessing, going back to her father's house, marrying, and coming out to build a great nation. Jacob being Israel. Very cunning, some deception in there. A lot of deception. But it was never about some individual with a bowl of beans like Esau or Edom, who was more concerned about his personal comfort. You failed the first test. It's all about you. When you could be tempted for personal comfort to give up or speak out against your birthright for personal comfort, you pretty much have sold your soul for personal comfort. Yeah? It's a very easy lesson to pay attention to if you're paying attention. Jacob was under the tutelage of his very powerful mother called Wisdom. He may not have understood everything she was saying, but he did everything she said. Keep in mind, getting out of the Adamic era was necessary to start over with Noah. Noah being the father of 3 sons, as it were, as the story shares. And those 3 sons rebuilding from the standpoint of starting over nations, people group. People groups. From that came the lineage of the Abrahamic covenant. It has always been about building groups of people, but God having a personal relationship with each person who were interested in his plan. Now, with that said, in the book of Genesis, I forgot where it was. I forgot where I was supposed to be. Okay, here we go. Genesis chapter 27, verse 40. It says, "And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck." This is a word speaking to what is now the country of Jordan. But this was spoken to of Esau. In this, it is explained that Esau, or Edom, or now Jordan, which was part of Israel, would have the opportunity of breaking away from Jacob, which is Israel, which, and I know you would want to subscribe Israel to the state of Israel, but it is not. Israel is 12 tribes, which actually fulfilled the Abrahamic covenant and went around the world. This is where the movement of the Black Hebrews consider themselves the tribe of Israel, the 12 tribes, and they believe they went around the world. But it wasn't. I'm not sure if that was just them. That has to be further researched. But here, my mindset, it's all about building nations and not just about building yourself. This plan has always been about nations against nations, not people against people. It is not about you getting your BMW or whatever car you think is, it's back in the day this would have been animals or chariots or whatever. There's no talking here about someone getting their chariots, although it does talk about Solomon and how great his kingdom was and that sort of thing. But no one was chasing chariots. Kind of came with the kingdom, which was the nation and the people group. And you get the nation and the people group by establishing families and taking over particular areas of land and establishing a collective, which we now call insurance, and establishing different families, which we now call businesses. That's how you have economic domination. But the individualism today strikes against the idea of building nations and nationwide economies. And I know I sound crazy to a lot of people in my era, but I'm hoping in my grandkids' era and all through Kenya that this word goes out and that you see the importance of building a nation.